Hello, my name is Aimee and in this presentation, I am going to talk about 5 effective management functions and 3 styles that are used by managers. So, firstly, I will start by five major management functions, and for each function, I will provide at least one example of it, of an activity or a task that is associated with it. The first function is planning, which refers to the way of deciding about what needs to be done in the future. For instance, an hospital can plan ahead of time the new practices or security it wants to buy from outsiders, so that could be planned ahead of time. The second one is called organizing, which refers to the way of associating resources with the corresponding users or employees in order to perform duties. For instance, treatments are provided to doctors in order to help patients. Like treatments are resources that are given to the doctors in order to support the patients. The third one is called staffing, which refers to the way of analyzing a job or employment in order to hire people at the workplace based on their abilities. For instance, the ophthalmologists at the hospitals are hired to treat patients who suffer from eye diseases because of how qualified they are to treat those patients. If the fourth one is called leading, which refers to the way of determining a task to be done and finding out appropriate employees to do it. For instance, ophthalmologists are hired to treat patients who suffer from eye diseases as they are qualified to treat eye disease. So reading is a way of finding out a task and its appropriate employees who are able to perform such duty. The fifth is called controlling, which refers to the way of evaluating if the planned goals have achieved or not. So that some adjustments can made to make improvements. For instance, a doctor can control if the health of patient is he or she treated have been improved, and in case he found that he is still severely sick, he can improve or adjust his strategies, his medical strategies to treat a patient. So to move on, there are 3 styles, and there are strength, weakness, and at least a scenario that those styles are appropriate. The first one is called directing style, which refers to the way of guiding the employees a task to perform. In this style, the employers direct or guide employees what to do and how to do it, the way of doing it, and the right time to do it. Basically, it applies to the directions given to employees to work on their duties. So the strength of this style is that the manager demonstrates to the employees the behavior they need most, which could be learned through coaching. And the manager recognizes the employees who accomplished their task effectively so that they can be rewarded. So that these were strength of directing style. About weakness, the communication comes from the manager to the employees, either orally or verbally. So as the only feedback that the manager looks is, uh, do you understand the instruction? So in this case, it's like an employer's don't make the employees feel free to communicate with him or her, so he or she He's the one to make decision, to communicate to them. So that's a weakness, as employees are not flexible to talk about their concerns. Another weakness is that, of course, employees' ideas are not that much respected, as the employers are the one to communicate to them what they need to do and how they will do it. An example of a scenario where this style is appropriate is where, a, for instance, a healthcare office manager could communicate to the technician that electricity in the organization or in the hospital is not working. He or she can give them direction of how to make it in time of an emergency, which need to a solution. A manager or a leader can directly contact or communicate to the employees to come and perform a duty in a direct way. So a second style is called discussing, where a manager influences the employees to participate in the discussion with him or her by asking them critical questions in order to see how issues can be solved. Uh, Looking at the strength of this style, there are really many strengths, as the communication occurs between both the manager and the employees, because he shares questions and answers with the employers. He asks them how issues in the organization can be solved, what they are seeing as a challenge in order to be handled. So that's a strength. Second one is that employees are involved in decision making because of those discussions. That's how the employees come out with good ideas and share them with their employers in order to make a strong decision. Third one is that the employees who effectively accomplish their task are recognized and even rewarded. So this motivated the employees in order to perform better. Uh, Talking about the weakness, is that the manager does not conclude about a behavior which his or her employees need to improve on. So that's a weakness of this style, because it seems like an employers don't took much attention about the employees' behaviors as they used to interact. So that's a weakness. Another one is that some employees may convince the manager or their employers about a subject that they want to work on, which could not even benefit that much the organization. So it's up to the managers who don't analyze their discussion with the employees while making decision, because sometimes there are employees who are really strong to convince their employers, uh, even on something which could not bring the benefit to the organization, which are about their wishes or how they want things to be done. So that's a second weakness. One of the scenario that could be appropriate to this style is that, for instance, a healthcare manager could discuss with the communication department agencies in the hospital about the way of publishing the hospital's news on social media. So in that time, the agencies could discuss with the leaders of the hospitals about what kind of information or data will be published on social media, like on Facebook, on Twitter. So that needs a discussion with the leader to see the beneficial or the good, the interesting information which could be really published on social media. So this style is really appropriate in that case of sharing those information which can harm or benefit the hospital in case it is really discussed well. So the third style is called delegating style, or where within this style the employees work independently to learn. In this style, the employers allocate the duties to their employees and let them work on them independently. Uh, so we say that strength of this style is that it influences the employees to make decisions on their own, basing on their goals, implementation plan to work on tough subjects. So when you allocate a task to someone and you let him or her do it, he can really create new ideas or be innovative, and in case he or she can get difficulty, he can come to ask you. But it's good to first take initiative, think about what you really know about something, and after you can seek for help after doing something. The second strength is that the best performers are rewarded for working effectively on their task. So it is better always to recognize a person who do well his task in order to motivate him or her by giving reward. The weakness is that the communication awkward in case a manager assigns tasks to the employees. Hence, they get an opportunity of asking possible questions to know what they are required to deliver. So this is not that good because even employees are sometimes they need to communicate to their bosses. Though then when a boss have this style, they feel like they feel not flexible. Even they can meet with a challenge while working and still quiet, which can lead to the loss of the organization, as there is no effective communication between employees and the employers. A second one, there is independent coaching. This is also refers to the way where the employers told the employees that they have to do something or to learn new skills without any help. For instance, a boss can find his employees not really worked good on the assignment or a task, and he can tell him or her that tomorrow he or she has to come with an effective work product without giving some procedures of doing it, like he needs him or her to learn on herself, which really can be complicated to some employees who are not that much have enough skills or adaptation to learn new skills or to coach or to train themselves. Another weakness is that there is low collaboration between a manager and employees. So when employees and employers are not collaborative between themselves, it's not good because I can seek some feedback or I can need to ask clarifying question about the duties to do or to work on. So in case we are not collaborative, I know that you are the one to tell me what to do and they want to do it. So sometimes I can even produce poor work product because of our low collaboration. So a scenario about this style, for instance, an executive assistant can assign different tasks to the receptionist in case he or she is a supervisor without giving them the direction of doing them. So afterwards, he or she can see if the receptionist perform much better to reward him or herself. So, for instance, on my own, I can take an example from my workplace. I work with an executive assistant. She is my supervisor. So, in case he can allocate to me some tasks to do without telling me how to do it, and I can be really creative, even doing some research about how to do it. Then if I found that I did well and he gave me some po good feedback, positive feedback, that I did a great job, I can be rewarded. So in that time, it is appropriate because I can learn on myself, like to be creative. So that's how this style can be really appropriate. So thank you very much for your kind attention. Thank you very much. So I can encourage the managers to use effectively those functions and the styles in order to benefit from them. So thank you.